So which method is right for you? Again, if I'm meeting with somebody that has an interest in stepping in this space, there's a lot of investigation, there's a lot of upfront research I want to do. Again, I think vetting somebody is crucial in general. Again, if they can't sit in a room by themselves for 10 minutes and breathe without their cell phone, they are not going to be able to land this experience. You are absolutely going to destabilize that person. And I say, if you have not built some level of scaffolding, some foundation for them to land on, it's going to be a brutal landing. Folks that, again, have very heavy religious beliefs, it could destabilize them in the sense that everything, their entire value structure, their whole life has been centered around this belief structure. And I was in that case. I mean, 10 years ago, I was in apologetics ministry, and then within 15 minutes, I was like, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, A for effort, but that ain't it, right? But that was my entire identity, my entire thought, my entire value system. So it took a while to kind of readjust to that. So proper screening is necessary. Obviously, there's a ton of contraindications that we don't have time to get into. But again, if they haven't built some level of scaffolding, they're going to be destabilized from that experience. So, again, if you saw my talk earlier with my wife, working with a therapist helps. On some level, we're able to blend kind of this therapeutic model with the facilitator model and really try to create just more impactful outcomes. She already gave me the 5-minute warning. That was like 5 minutes ago. But briefly again, 5-MeO, again, what makes it unique again is as far as the brain is operating, the 5-HT1A and 2A receptors are obviously being impacted, like many common tryptamines, but the 5-HT1A receptor is the one that this one is impacting the most. That's one that modulates mood, anxiety, and consciousness and emotions, right? And that's why it's a more embodied experience. And when I mean embodied, again, you can talk about unity consciousness, one with everything, unconditional love, but most people have read about it, they've created like this analyzation of it, understand it conceptually, but when you embody it for 15 minutes, embody it, and you are that, it's like 1,000,000x. And again, I read about it till I thought I knew everything about it until I experienced it, and I'm like, you know nothing. You know absolutely nothing, sir. If you haven't experimented or experienced it and you're looking for it, again, be cautious. Again, I usually say women, but women and men, understanding that you are going to be completely unconscious. And so if I'm facilitating with a woman, I always have a woman in the space, and I always have the woman bring a witness, and I record all my sessions. My biggest fear is for somebody to have an altered state, right, and to think something happened that didn't happen. But things are happening in this space. I've worked with about 6 women in the last 3 years that have had very traumatic experiences in this space because, again, they are completely offline and unconscious. The other thing is this amount of projection that happens to a facilitator. And again, that's where this pseudo-guru comes from. When you have this experience of being one with everything, feeling like you just died, and then you're making eye contact with this person that essentially brought you through this, experienced this, or helped you experience this, there's going to be a level of projection on that person. Some people want that level of projection. Some people want that. They want to be seen. They want to be the savior. They want to be special. And my concern in this space is we're seeing more and more people that are untrained step into this space subconsciously so they can get that. They see it as a fast track to be able to be seen and loved and appreciated. And I mean that compassionately. We all want to be loved and appreciated, but they'll have that projection on you and they're like, oh, I can do that. Next thing you know, they're doing it, and that's not good. And again, we have a class on it, but you want to find somebody that has a high level of humility, right? There's a lot of narcissists in every space, but in this space, because of the nature of the experience, really interview these folks. Meet with them in advance. Again, I don't facilitate to anybody that I don't at least meet 3 times in advance. I just won't do it. I need to know, again, do you have some scaffolding or a foundation to lay on? What type of medications are you taking? Do you have a support network? We need to go through some pretty rigorous informed consent of like, look, this could destabilize you. What is our action plan if you're destabilized, right? Do we have somebody that you're working with? Here's how much support I could provide, right? That conversation is not happening, ever. And then again, finally, support for integration, right? Is there a level of support for folks that are having this integration? It is unique integration. We have an integration course, and one of our first Volunteers was a 5 MEO experience, and I'm like, this is going to be tricky. Because it's not your traditional psilocybin or MDMA or ayahuasca integration, in the sense that there is no visual to kind of start with and kind of connect to and then start working through it. It's just this embodied experience. So do they have support for integration, and can you provide that? If not, how do you help them get that support for integration? Okay, I talked as fast as I possibly can. I'm sweating. Questions?